green flag comes out and we are underway.
Oh, no! And they hit. Oh, and now trouble. Oh, yeah.
Overturn 5 known as Madness.
Oh, no work.
Oh.
Into China Beach. Dean Martin taking a look to the inside.
Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, the 2012 NASA Championships presented by Toyo Tires. Alongside John Lindsay, my name is Rob Klepper. Crowned 4 champions earlier today in AI. American Iron, Dean Martin. American Iron Extreme, Chris Griswold. ST1, Scott Willem. And ST2, Kareem Alex Talbot picking up the national championships. Up next is the Honda Challenge, HC1 and 2. Mr. Lindsay, and I like to see all these Hondas on the racetrack.
It's an excellent series, Rob. I tell you, this is our Honda Challenge presented by Honda Performance Development. HC1, a little bit faster cars, a little more sauce there. H2, a little bit slower, but still very fast. Most of these are motor swapped cars. Our video is brought to us by Hosport today, who makes a lot of engine swap kits, so we are in for a heck of a race.
And standing starts here today for the Honda Challenge National Championship race. Let's move into our starting lineup. Out first will be the HC1, Honda Challenge 1. Starting on the pole, the guy that won Thursday's qualifier, Friday's qualifier. That is the 848 of Jason Kohler. Starting outside of row number 1, John Old in the 75 ran second to Kohler in both those qualifying events. Starting third will be the 321 of Andrew Lee, followed by the 8 car of Rob Oxford. Michael Freeze in the 23, who crashed on Wednesday, got things back together. He'll start 5th. And the driver that popped a motor on Thursday, the 88 of Kevin Helms. So 6 drivers here looking for a national title in HC1.
HC2, we've got Jeremy Croiset on the pole again, followed by Eddie Sadauskas. Then it's Colin Botha, Erik Olson, 5th place. It's Shane Lovely on the P5 there. Carl Condor up next. Andrew Locke, Eric Waddell, David Sherman, Jonathan Baker, Robert Casella, Xavier Calderon, and P13 is John Reamer.
So Honda Challenge cars making their way onto the racetrack here. We're running the Pro Course today at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. 2.25 miles, 13 turns, and again a standing start, which is pretty cool. It's kind of the coolest starts, especially here at Mid-Ohio, especially when they're right in front of us here on the front straightaway.
Oh, it'll be unbelievable. And it looks like there's number 727. That might be John Meris. Looks like we're going around one more time. Are we getting up there? Let's see. Yeah, the standing starts are the best because this will be just major drag race start and a lot of excitement right when we go green here.
We had a lot of weather come through last night here in central Ohio, the Buckeye State. And a little bit come through this morning, but now the sun is out, a little bit cloudy, the track is dry, and it is set for a great race. 45 minutes the total distance. The time starts when the cars leave the paddock, so the time is now running. We'll keep you up to date on where we're at in the race as far as time and when we get close to the closing stages and get ready for that white flag in the final lap. So all cars lined up for the National Championship race for Honda Challenge 1, Honda Challenge 2. Jason Kohler, the 848, will lead HC1. Again, he won Thursday night, won Friday night, and the green is out, and we are racing here at Mid-Ohio.
And our first wave, the Honda Challenge 1 cars are off and running. Now that's John Meris right there. Believe it or not, he built the car this weekend on the way here.
You can see the HC2 cars getting set for their green flag as they await Jeremy Croiset and Eddie Sadauskas as HC1 through turn 1 now into the keyhole. And Meris trying to work his way, taking the low line and already moving up as it looks like the green flag coming out now for HC2. So Croiset in a 25 car will lead him down in turn 1.
Looks like Croiset got a great start there. Eddie Sadauskas, though, right behind him. You can see all these different variety of Hondas and Acuras. You've seen an Integra, S2000, CRXs, Civics, all over the map. It's a great series.
And Croiset DNF'd at this race last year, so really wants to get that national title here in 2012 as the HC2 cars now make their way through Keyhole. A little brighter out there than we saw earlier today as track pretty much dry all the way around at this point. Down the back straightaway through the kink, and then of course to the China Beach area and up into Madness. A lot of elevation changes as we are already racing for the lead.
There's Eddie Sadowskis, I think, trying to come inside Jeremy, but that's not going to work right there.
Brakes hard, yeah. You carry a lot of speed down the back straightaway here, and if you don't have the pass made by the time you get into that turn right in front of China Beach, it's not going to happen. Down Madness now as they head into turn 7 underneath the Honda Bridge.
How appropriate.
So HC2 is what we're watching right now. Battle for the lead. The 25 of Croiset and the 707 of Eddie Sadowskis as they go into Thunder Valley, then up into the carousel.
Looks like Croiset is staying out in front. Now, last year he had a transmission failure, and Jeremy also has had other different failures like that where it's just been a heartbreaker for him. So we're really looking for him to stay out of trouble and keep out front. He's been fast all weekend here in that CRX, which is really Jeremy's specialty.
And Sadowskis right behind him out of Illinois, the Honda Civic, leading the points in the Midwest and the Great Lakes regions with the National Auto Sport Association. The GoPro Speed Shot on the front straightaway as they head back into 1. Erik Olson, it looks like they're the 10 car. It's a 3-car kind of breakaway. These are your top 3 cars right now in H2.
Look at that. They are all choosing different lines, seeing who's going to try to run that inside line. Jeremy's protecting, Eddie trying to come around the outside. Again, they're maybe sacrificing a little bit of launch, so we'll see if that will help out Erik Olson as Eddie Sadowskis and Jeremy Croiset are really battling there up front.
Yeah, nose to tail looked like Croiset got a bit of a run off of turn 2. And we talk about the high speed on the back straightaway here through the kink, and they're going to try and go 2 wide, maybe 3 wide as Olson takes a peek to the outside, now thinks better of that, and a battle for the lead once again, but can Croiset hold him off? Wow. Man, almost a mirror image of what happened 1 lap ago, and he did it. So Sadowskis will remain in that 2nd spot, maybe coming down Madness, and Croiset kind of shuts the door on him there.
Now this is kind of reminiscent of the battle we had last year with Jonathan Meris and Kevin Helms, where the whole race, we were just, I mean, you paid for the whole seat, but you're only going to use the edge. And look at these guys just going at it in the early stages of this HPD. Honda Challenge presented by HPD. This is quite a race.
So Jeremy Croiset there in the 25 out front, followed very closely by the 707 of Eddie Sadowskis. And then Erik Olson, who started 4th in the 10 car. The red and white number 10 car runs in 3rd.
And here they are coming into the carousel, choosing a little bit different lines. A little smoke out of the back of Jeremy's car, but I think that really is just because that rear end is lifting up a little bit, and as he's on the brakes, there's a little bit of rotation there that gets stopped right when that wheel comes back in contact with the pavement. Eddie trying an inside move. Ooh, that's brave.
Yeah, very tight racing down into turn number 1. You do carry a lot of speed in there, heavy braking, almost a 90-degree turn in turn 1. Down into turn 2, known as the keyhole here. And we mentioned the top 3 cars pulling away. They continue to pull away, and it looks like they're all pretty close in time right now.
Pretty close. They're all in the 143 range, our top 3, and Jonathan Baker's actually running a little quicker in the 4th position, 142.838. So with these 3 battling, they may be losing some time, and we might see Jonathan Baker starting to come up to the front in HC2.
And we see the 26 car, I believe that's Colin Botha, who has lost the hood. Actually, no, it's still there. It's just not where it's supposed to be, and that's going to impair the vision just a tad.
Well, he could drive out the side windows because it is a CRX that tends to flip around pretty easy, but man, that's a mistake that I've made before. You leave the hood pins out and kabang. And looks like they're going to get him back out, though.
And he's had a pretty good week. Out of Michigan, that CRX there, he ran 4th on Thursday night, 2nd on Friday's qualifying race, so he'll try and get that fixed to get back out. Meanwhile, we'll go back up to the battle for H2, the 25 Croiset there. Now, get that right rear up. Cutting the corner a little bit short there, and now has about a 3 or 4 car length advantage. So he has gained a little bit on the 707 of Eddie Sadowskis, and Erik Olson, we mentioned earlier, the red and white number 10 car still runs in 3rd.
It looks like they're catching the back of the H1 field there. So this is going to be interesting again as we see some traffic. That S2000 will have more power, but Jeremy's going to try to use maybe some of this lap traffic as a pick, but boy, Eddie Sadowskis and Erik Olson are still right there.
GoPro Speed Shot on the front straightaways. We head down into turn number 1. There is the 10 car of Erik Olson. Allentown, Pennsylvania driver. Finished up 3rd in this race 1 year ago. Looking for another podium spot, or trying to better that by a few positions.
One would think he's going after it pretty hard. Now, Rob, you see these are all little Civics and things like that, CRXs. You really don't think of those as very fast cars. That's where the Hotsport equation comes in, because most of these are running bigger motors out of something like a Acura Integra or an NS, or not an NSX, but an RSX or something like that. And it really is the equivalent of putting a big block into the 6-cylinder economy car of the old days. And these things are wicked fast.
Top 3 again in H2 as Croiset leads him, the 707, unable to make a move there. He's been kind of dive bombing down on the inside of that turn up into Madness. And again, Croiset leads as we move up to, I believe, Jason Kohler in the 848. That's our leader in HC1, Honda Challenge 1, who's looking to go back to back this week and win both qualifying events and the national championship, the 848. Driver out of Waterford, Michigan, Honda S2000.
It looks like Kevin Helms has come way up the order. Now, he had a blown motor, as we mentioned, that also resulted in a pretty major crash. But he is coming up the order. As I understand, it's a backup car that he managed to bring from home. And he is up to second place now, if I'm reading our scoring correctly.
And of course, remember, you can watch live timing on NASAChampionships.com, the official website for this weekend's event. You can always check out NASAProRacing.com, the official website for the National Autosport Association. You can follow us on Twitter at NASA Pro Racing, hashtag NASA Champs, and hashtag Mid-Ohio for all the action this weekend.
So there's Kevin Helms. You can see he swapped from a Civic that he was running earlier in the week to a Acura Integra.
And there's a reason for that.
Exactly, because he crashed the Civic. baby, I had to crash that Honda.
Pulp Fiction, folks. 88 there. Kevin Helms moving up, started 6th in HC1, currently running 2nd behind the 848 of Jason Kohler. 3rd right now in HC1 is John Old, the 75, followed by Jonathan Meris. 4th, Andrew Lee rounds out your top 5. Michael Fries and Rob Oxford rounds out your field for Honda Challenge 1.
Looks like we're watching here. That's probably Carl Condor right there. Looks like that is a battle right now for 6, 7, 8 positions right in there. Carl is driving an older Accord, but still running very hard in that number 31 car as they come down out of Madness.
Out of Georgia, the Southeast region. Ran 8th on Thursday, 6th yesterday in the qualifying events. And you know, we talk about the battles for the lead. We saw it earlier today, battles deep in the field as well. I mean, these guys are battling for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th position. And they're getting it done here early at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
So this is our battle for 6, 7, 8, and 9. That is Carl Condor, Andrew Locke, David Sherman, and Erik Waddell, I believe. All of them right together. And again, you see a real variety of chassis. You see an Accord. You see a couple of Civics from a generation. And then the last car in line, if I'm reading it right, that's another Civic. So we really see a nice variety of cars here. Actually, it's a CRX. It's the last one in line. So that's a great variety, and it's really cool what you can do with these little cars. That economy cars from the factory, and now here they are, full-blown racing cars screaming around a racetrack.
And it looks like Andrew Locke trying to make a move. The 976. I believe he got him. That's the car to your right there.
He's going to try that braking maneuver. Now, if this doesn't work out, it can be disastrous because you go straight into the cars that are right in front of you. It's a brave move, but sometimes you got to make some brave moves to move up in the field here, Rob.
Andrew Locke ran 8th in this race last year.
Now we're seeing a little bit of drafting going on. You can see Locke tucking into behind that kind of bigger profile Civic there, and he's going to try to translate that into a nice run. He'll probably pop to the inside here. We'll see if they're going to defend.
You can really see now, you know, earlier today when it was overcast and very, very wet outside, not a lot of shine now. There's a lot of shine out on the racetrack, so. And it looks like Locke began to pull away from these guys a little bit. Locke in the 976. Carl Condor, meanwhile, in the 6th place. The 31 car.
It looks like we're getting a little indication from timing and scoring that 2nd place in Honda Challenge 1 maybe losing a little bit of time there, so that's another story we can follow. See what's going on with H1 there. Might be falling back a little bit, Kevin Helms, number 88, so we'll follow that too. But man, what a great race. Little further back in the field in HC2.
Yeah, we saw the 9X there of David Sherman out of Montana. Races in the Utah region. So what's cool about these national championships, you get drivers from all over the country, all the different regions that come together. They may not see these other drivers at all throughout the entire year, but when when you come to this event here in Mid-Ohio, you're racing pretty much the best of the best from coast to coast.
We sure are. And there's Jeremy Croiset. He's starting to pull away a little bit. He's putting a bit of time right now. Looks like the gap is 1.4 seconds between him and second place. So he's getting that gap that he needs, give him a little bit of comfort level. And then he's going, it looks like he's got Erik Olson behind him. Eddie Sidauskas has fallen back. So Jeremy is looking for a little bit of space that he can use, and then maybe he can back off, save the tires, save the car a little bit as we progress in this national championship race.
And we just saw the 31 here in front of us, folks. The 31, we were talking about Carl Condor in the pits, so he came down pit lane, and his day could be done. Looks like we're about 15 minutes into this 45-minute event, national championship race for Honda Challenge 1 and Honda Challenge 2. And then we move back up to the 75 car, John Holt. Down through Keyhole, through the kink now in the back straightaway here at Mid-Ohio, currently running second to Jason Kohler in HC1. Kind of all by himself, trying to run some good laps. You can really see him get on the brakes there. The front end of that car really dip down into the racetrack.
And you can see the aerodynamics there, that big wing on the back. So it's balanced out by a splitter in front. So if you get too much front downforce, the car, you know, might turn too much and push on you. So you got to get a really good balance with the aerodynamic aids here. Looks like Jason Kohler has those two dialed in because he wasn't moving around at all. Didn't look like he was pushing, didn't look like he was loose. Right through those corners, all the way stuck to the track.
Yeah, you could really see that 848 get into the racetrack there as he continues to lead here in HC1.
And Kevin Helms has fallen back a little. There's that story we were looking at. But his last lap time was right there with the other guys, so maybe he had a little something fall off, something happened, and he's back at it because he's running a 1:39.772 as his last time, and the other guys are actually not that much faster than he is right now.
I believe that's Meris right behind him.
Good Lord, John Meris coming from the back.
727 coming from the tail, racing his way to the front. So
that freshly built car, good grief, where'd he come from?
Well, Meris, you can see right there, headed to the front straightaway as they cross over in front of us. So he is really driving that car in deep as they head back into turn number 1. The 88 car once again, Kevin Helms and Jonathan Meris right behind him in the blue 727.
Now, Rob, you remember the battle these two guys had last year, and now we're just seeing a repeat of it. Instead of 1 and 2, it's 3 and 4 this time.
So down into Keyhole now. Meris really taking a little bit different line, going in a little higher, trying to kind of diamond the corner. As we mentioned before, it's kind of a big 180-degree corner. Now he'll take a look to the inside. Still side by side, heading up to Madness now as
Meris is in front.
He made a move, yeah, he made it stick. So Meris gets by and makes the pass and continues on here in HC1. So how about that? Jonathan Meris, been a very
literally, Rob,
drama-filled week for him.
He built the car on the way here. He towed all the way from Elk Grove, California, down south of Sacramento where I live. Actually, I live in Davis now, and he is going through there, and he built the car, stopped in Iowa to get the exhaust welded on off of I-80, and they've been in the garage every night, all night long, building that car, just fresh. Didn't do either of the practice races, either of the qualifyings. First time out on the track for this car, and look at it go. Yeah,
and remember, he won this race 1 year ago, so he certainly knows how to get around this racetrack. A two-time national champion. He won Honda Challenge 2 back in 2010 at Miller Motorsports Park in Utah. So definitely very good in this class, and he has certainly proven that here today.
You bet. And there may be a factor here that Helms is in his backup car. John's in his primary car, but you know his primary car is brand new. The paint isn't even dry on it.
So here we go again. Meris there in that blue and white 727. Helms behind him in the white 88. Through the Keyhole. And he is pulling away. So he is really, you could really tell the last couple laps driving it in deep. You're going to see this thing dip on the nose as he heads down off camber. Nice braking area, good passing area. We've seen a lot here before at Mid-Ohio.
And they are chasing down John Holt. John Holt is right there in front of him, not too far out of the side of your screen there. So, you know, maybe it's a fresh motor, literally probably never been run that much in Meris's car, and it's feeling pretty spunky.
So again, Jason Kohler leads Honda Challenge 1 in the 848. John Holt second in the 75. Jonathan Meris now third. There he is, third place in the blue and white 727. Then Kevin Helms in the 88 car. Andrew Lee in the 321, currently 5th. Michael Fries in 6th in the 23. And 7th place, the 8 of Rob Oxford. As Jonathan Meris continues to work his way to the front, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more here from Mid-Ohio, the 2012 NASA Championships Honda Challenge race. Welcome back to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Big time racing here in Honda Challenge, the 2012 NASA Championships presented by Toyo Tires. Rob Klepper and John Lindsay with the call here as we're going to crown 2 more national champions. There is the 88 of Kevin Elms. Meanwhile, the 848 leading HC1, Jason Kohler, looking for a sweep here this week.
You can see that amazing charge. We were just talking with one of our friends here on the booth, and literally as the cars were rolling out, they were putting stickers on Jonathan Meris' car still. So that's about as close as you can cut it. That's a hot and fresh delivery of a race car to the racetrack there. Jason
Kohler leading HC1, leading the Midwest region, the Great Lakes region out of Waterford, Michigan. I mentioned he's looking for the sweep because he won the Thursday qualifier and the Friday qualifier.
And Jason also does time trial work with us. You can see the TTC logo. That means he's in the time trial C class. So he's definitely doing both disciplines here, a little bit of time trial, a little bit of racing, and obviously pretty darn good at both.
You know, there's a handful of drivers that come out to the national championships and will run multiple classes, and it's got to help you as a driver to just get more track time, especially this week when we've had some different weather issues with you know, track being extremely wet and very slippery. What you'll learn in one class may translate to another class, and then when the sun comes out, you may have learned something in another class that will translate to this class when the track's dry. So it's neat to see guys running multiple classes.
Well, and it's all about the seat time. It really is. The more looks you get at the track, the more time you get around, you figure something out slowly but surely.
So again, that is your leader for H1, Jason Kohler. John Olt runs second. Jonathan Meris in third with the fastest lap today, about 7/10 quicker than anyone on the racetrack.
And that was his last pass by. His best lap time so far is a 1:38.657. So John is apparently getting the feel for that car now that he's finally got it on the racetrack. He is looking to take John Olt and Jason Kohler off those next 2 steps on the podium here for this Honda Challenge presented by Honda Performance Development.
And speaking of John Olt, there he is running second to Kohler in both the qualifying races, the blue number 75 out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. Ran 4th here at Mid-Ohio in 2008 in the national championships.
And he's got a mirror full of John Meris.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Meris is coming. You can really see right there the left rear. Anytime you see the left rear come up through the corners, and when they make a right-hander, you see the right rear go up, you know he's standing on the gas.
It looks like Meris is catching up to Olt 3/4 seconds a lap, and there's only a 1.6 gap. 1.6 second gap, that is, last time these 2 guys came by the stripe.
And this is the race, folks, for second in H1. So John Olt has it, Jonathan Meris wants it, and if math doesn't lie, he's going to catch him here pretty quick and have a shot to get by him.
You know, I predict maybe John will try something going down. They'll come down here by the GoPro speed cam, and they will go through there, and I bet John will try something down in the keyhole. What do you think, Rob?
Well, he drove in deep right there and might have lost a little bit of ground as they head towards the front straightaway here. And that's the thing. Sometimes you can get excited. You can overdrive these cars, and you know, faster is, you know, isn't always faster. Sometimes slower is faster. And right there, he could have lost a lot of ground, but as fast as he is here today at Mid-Ohio, he's going to run it back down here in a hurry.
Well, and Jonathan may have cooked his tires a little bit trying to catch up to John Olt. So that may have been what you see him with that big kind of lurid push around the carousel.
Of course, we're live here on SpeedcastTV.com. Continued coverage of the 2012 NASA Championships presented by Toyo Tires. Of course, you can chat, you can comment during the race here on SpeedcastTV.com. Let us know what you're thinking. You can also follow us on Twitter at NASA Pro Racing, hashtag NASA Champs, hashtag Mid-Ohio. All weekend long. Here is Jonathan Meris, again, 3rd place right now in HC1, trying to reel in John Olt for second. That's pretty much the best battle on the racetrack here, and there he goes again, blocking up that left rear.
Well, he's got the 3-wheel motion there as he's going through. So, boy, John Olt's got some work cut out if he's going to keep Jonathan Meris behind him, because Jonathan is well motivated.
Underneath the Honda bridge through turn 8 down into turn number 9.
These are 2 radically different cars, Rob. The S2000 front engine, rear drive. The Acura Integra, it's got the front engine, front drive. Both of them, you know, Honda products, but radically different cars. But they're hanging right here, similar lap times, so the formula really is working for us.
Through Thunder Valley into Carousel, and of course the hard left-hand turn to the front straightaway. As they cross the stripe.
It looks like the time difference tightened up by about a half a second there on that last lap between Meris and Old. So they are really flying. Their last lap times for those two guys were right together. 139.199 for John Old. Jonathan Meris, a 138.789. Jason Kohler still out front running a 138.962 on his last lap.
And you can see right there coming into Keyhole that Meris was really driving it in deep, trying to get all he can to run down John Old, and may have a shot here shortly as they head through the kink. Old had to check up for the slower car. HC2 car moving out of the way as these guys head up into Madness. And Meris not enough to put a run on Old, but the last time through Madness I was noticing that John Old was really hard on the wheel and looked kind of smooth right there and then back on the gas hard, so doing all he can to hold off Jonathan Meris and still really trying to race down Jason Kohler, because they are still trying to win this race, but they're having to battle each other here, which kind of gives Jason Kohler a little bit of breathing room.
You can see these guys are going really hard, and that may be letting Kohler check out a little bit because he's able to run the school line, as we call it. Go around, run an absolutely perfect line, not having to worry about it, where these two are having to defend, charge hard, and really get the tires hot. And, you know, it's got to be a fatigue issue for both of them, especially for John Meris, because he drove all the way across the country to get here.
Yeah, John Alt really drove in hard there and lost a little ground, pushed up a bit. Here comes Meris as they're nose to tail as they cross the stripe. Jonathan Meris with a big run, heading down into turn number 1. The battle for second in HC1, and give it to Jonathan Meris. Wow.
But John Old ain't giving up. He's coming around there, and there may be some more action coming down the keyhole. Looks like we have a car off right there in turn 1.
So Jonathan Meris takes over the second spot. John Old falls back to third, and he's going to try it again down here in keyhole to the inside. And Meris has been running kind of about a groove off the bottom, kind of the second lane through the keyhole, and that seems to be working for him. So he pulls away a little bit there, as it looks like we have about 10 minutes to go here in our Honda Challenge National Championship. And I think this is where Jonathan Meris is the best. He gets a good run coming out of keyhole all the way down here up into Madness. He looks pretty quick.
Yeah, and obviously he was getting a real good launch off of Carousel in order to be able to pull off that pass on Old right there.
So again, your leader in H1, Jason Kohler, the 848, all alone out front. This is still the battle for second. John Holt had it. Now Jonathan Meris with a great move gets by through turn 1 and working through some slower H2 cars. And here we go again. Now Meris slips up and get they touch.
Wow.
Into the left rear, or the right rear quarter panel, and he continues on. So
wow, that's a tough one to call, because, you know, do you give up that line? They're both on the edge of control. Jonathan Meris saved it, but who knows if that whack may have put something a little bit out of kilter in that right rear wheel. Here he comes again. John Old just coming again and trying to get inside of John Meris.
Yeah, and I don't know if after Old got into Meris, if he checked up a little bit because he knew that Meris was going to save it, as opposed to, you know, quote-unquote finish him off. He didn't do it, and they stayed there second and third. So I don't know. It doesn't look like the 727 is too affected as he begins to pull away. So we'll have to see here in the closing minutes of this race.
Yeah, and that's a tough one, because, you know, which line do you choose? And we have certain rules about where you have to be before you can make a move. That may have damaged John Old's car as well with that hit on the left front. It could knock it out of alignment. Maybe he's not getting the same corner grip as he was. John Meris, who knows? Maybe it whacked the right rear there, and he'll all of a sudden have a car that's too loose or not loose enough, and he's not able to turn it as well.
A little right rear toe now.
A little bit of toe.
That doesn't hurt anything, right? Well,
sure.
Meris there out of keyhole again got a great run. You know, we talked about it before, and really coming down in here to my favorite part of this racetrack, down by China Beach, where you don't want to end up. Then up into Madness here. Nice elevation change. He's been pretty good. And it's still 3 to 4 car lengths at this point between these two. Best battle on the racetrack. Again, if you're just joining us here on SpeedcastTV.com, Honda Challenge 1. Jason Kohler's your leader. He's checked out. Jonathan Meris now in second. The blue and white 727, followed by John Old, the 75, running third.
It looks like the gap, you know, again, these guys are slowing down because they're battling. They're having to work. The gap from these two guys back to or up to Jason Kohler is now 11 seconds. So Kohler just has to manage it here. I think he's doing pretty well. But wow, this is quite the barn burner of the race here between Jonathan Meris and John Old. Here they come into the carousel. Again, you see kind of different lines and different launches. And neither of these guys is really getting a tremendous advantage on the other. And there's Jeremy Croiset way out in front in H2. And we actually have radio to Jeremy through our Samson Racing Communications. Why don't we give Jeremy a call and ask him how it's going? Hey Jeremy, this is John Lindsay up in the Speedcast booth. How's it going out there, buddy? Well, you're looking good. We're following you on the camera right now. How's the car feeling, Jeremy?
Well, you know, my crew chief Felix helped me set up a perfect car for ASR TRX, and damned if I can't say this car is a joy to drive, John.
Well, that's good to hear, Jeremy. We're going to let you go. We'll keep up the good work, and we will hopefully see you taking the checker there, buddy.
I gotta say, a big hello to my friends and family.
So Jeremy Croiset there in the 25, crossing the stripe, heading back into turn number 1. Really cool to be able to talk to drivers on the green flag.
That's kind of neat. And you could hear that, you know, VTEC just kicked in, because you could hear that little thing screaming while he was going around. Again, Jeremy giving the props there to Felix, his crew chief. They came all the way from Tehachapi, California. Quite a drive for those guys to get here, but they are doing a great job here in this Honda Challenge 2 race. So
Croiset there out of Keyhole. He's your leader for H2. Erik Olson in the 10 car currently runs second. Jonathan Baker is third in the 32. Eddie Sadauskas fourth in the 707, and Andrew Locke in the 976 car rounds out your top 5 for H2. So down through the China Beach area up to Madness. You know, in the 25 car, he runs multiple classes. He's won this race. He won it last year. He's a two-time champion. He knows this track really well. He ran second actually back here in 2008. He was sixth in 07 here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. So he's got a lot of laps at this racetrack. And as you said earlier, you know, seat time certainly pays off. It's very difficult to outrun experience.
Well, and Jeremy, I mean, he's never still. He was changing. He has a Spec Z, our new Spec Z class, and the master cylinder on the clutch went out, so he was changing that until about 1 o'clock in the morning. And he's also NASA's director of sponsorship, so he's the guy that put together 1.4 million. He's been working with sponsors, keeping racers happy. So this is a high energy guy.
And he wants to take some of that contingency money home with him.
I believe he does. I don't think it's a conflict of interest, because the guy works hard and he runs just as hard as anyone else. Really prepares a nice car, prepares cars also. You know, he has more jobs than anybody I know. He also prepares cars for racers in the Southern California region. So a real utility player, and we're glad to see Jeremy out in front in the Honda Challenge 2, presented by our good friends at Honda Performance Development, who actually set up a tent this week to feed all the Honda drivers that are here. So a tent with food, drinks, whatever you want. Honda's taking care of them. Also, they have a big trailer here with parts. So you can't ask for more than that from a sponsor for a class.
Well, the 25 car very fast here today as he leads Honda Challenge 2. He will be racing tomorrow, as you mentioned, Spec Z, which goes off at 11 a.m. tomorrow Eastern Standard Time. We'll be live once again here on SpeedcastTV.com. Continued coverage of the 2012 NASA Championships presented by Toyo Tires. And I believe this could be the 10 car, Erik Olson.
And that might be the 32 of Jonathan Baker. So this is our battle for second and third in Honda Challenge 2. And as you mentioned, Rob, presented by Toyo Tires, where every one of these cars is on the Toyo RA1. Again, our choice for spec tires for the most part there. You know, we have one, maybe a couple things where we're not running Toyos, but Toyo's a great partner for us. They just introduced a new tire called the Toyo RR, which is a successor to the Evergreen RA1 that we've been running on forever, and we are excited to see that tire get phased in next year.
So Erik Olson in the red number 10, followed by the white and black 32 of Jonathan Baker. That is the battle for second as they race nose to tail. Second place in Honda Challenge 2. Baker out of Hollywood, Maryland. In the Integra there, ran 7th on Thursday. He was 12th in his qualifying race yesterday. Regular with the Mid-Atlantic region. Second in the points there as they head down the front straightaway. Erik Olson, of course, we mentioned in the Civic there out of Pennsylvania, ran 3rd on Thursday and 4th yesterday. Currently runs 2nd here in HC2, and that's the battle for 2nd as they head down into the keyhole. Nose to tail, we'll see what lines they take. And it looks like Olson in the 10 car running low, and then the 32 of Baker there, he's kind of running the line we saw from the 25 of Croiset, about a half a car width or a full car width off the bottom to really build that momentum up there out of the keyhole.
Well, a lot of it is how your car feels and how you drive. I've driven cars that have been set up different ways. Sometimes you want it to really be able to rotate, sometimes not. This can be a driver setup or a track setup, and you can see right there Baker maybe tried to use that draft and then challenge a little bit inside, and that's also could be a nice psychological move, because even if you don't intend to take that inside line, you show it in the mirrors, the other guy looks up, and all of a sudden he misses a braking point, and you're in the absolute money seat.
Erik Olson in the 10, followed by the 32. Battle for 2nd. Jonathan Baker, now nose to tail. The Integra for Baker and the Civic for Erik Olson. One would think the Integra would just blow right by him, but the way this division is set up, everyone is really close to being equal.
Well, yeah, and we use weights of different cars and different chassis, and then also different motors. There's the B series, the D series, the K series, the F series that's in the S2000s. You also got the H series Honda motor that came in the Preludes initially. So we try to set equal amounts of power and weight and kind of equalize things that way with rev limits and other things that are going on.
Well, Jeremy Croiset is pretty much checked out in HC2. He has got about a 17-second lead. If we go back to HC1, Jason Kohler in the 848, about a 15-second lead. So both of our leaders are enjoying the Mid-Ohio countryside here. A nice little Saturday afternoon drive at this very historic racetrack.
It looks like John Old has maybe fallen back a little bit, and Kevin Helms has moved up to 3rd place in our Honda Challenge 1 class. So more developments there, and boy, John Old may be just tired out from all of that heat that Jonathan Meris was giving him.
Again, the battle for the 2nd spot here in HC2. Erik Olson in the 10, followed by Jonathan Baker in the 32. Underneath the Honda bridge, down off of Madness now, through turn 8. Talk to some of the drivers in the paddock. They say, you know, going down to turn number 9 into Thunder Valley, you can use the old sneak attack. You can just kind of sneak on by when they're not thinking you're going to get a good run, or they're not thinking you're going to try to make a pass. That's a good spot for it.
Well, it's all about the sneak attack. Because if someone sees you're coming, pretty much they're going to slam the door pretty hard.
Dump. Yeah, just like a shark. You want to let them know you're not there, and then all of a sudden just go right on by. But nonetheless, Erik Olson holding him off, still runs in 2nd, as Baker right behind him in 3rd in that 32, and unable to really get a good run. And when he does actually reel him in, it's not good enough to make a pass. So laps winding down, or time is winding down here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
And so you can see right there that it looks like Baker caught up a little bit, and he may be getting news from his crew about where we are in the race, and he may start pushing a little bit more than he has.
So once again, it's Jeremy Croiset in the 25 car leading Honda Challenge 2, a huge lead for the 25. This is the battle for 2nd. Erik Olson in the red number 10 coming at you, followed by the 32 of Baker, is going to take a peek to the inside as they head up to Madness, and it's not going to work.
And that may have cost him a little bit, because he may have lost a lot of momentum trying to gather it up and not plow into the side of Erik Olson.
And like you said, man, you got to go for it. When the crew's telling you, we're getting close to the end of this thing, we're going to be seeing the white flag here shortly, you really need to step it up if you can, and just didn't pay off for him there. So Erik Olson will hold on to the 2nd spot, and then the 32 remains in 3rd.
Now this should be interesting. We'll see what they come up with when they come down into the carousel. Looks like we have David Sherman back there. We saw him, so that may be some lap traffic. And here they come. Now Baker is closing up. Now if I was being a clever guy, I would wait and try to get a good run because it looks like Baker kind of has his number as we get in through the right by the GoPro speed cam there. So didn't close it up enough. We'll see if he gets that run down towards the keyhole.
White flag has been displayed, so 1 lap to go. Again, Jeremy Croiset leading Honda Challenge 2. 25 car, pretty much checked out. Erik Olson second, Jonathan Baker running in third, the 32. This is those two drivers battling for second. Final lap here in the National Championship for Honda Challenge.
And what's your prediction, Rob? What do you think Jonathan Baker's going to try this time around?
Well, right there, you know, he lost a little bit of ground coming out of keyhole there, and when you're 10, 12 car lengths back, it's really tough to gain it, but to B, to make a move on it. So if he can't really gain it here, you know, going down towards China Beach up off of Madness, his only shot's a carousel, maybe that final turn coming to the front straightaway.
That might be it, but they have some lap traffic they're coming up on, so that may be a real big factor as we come in. There's our Honda Challenge 1 leader. That is Mr. Jason Kohler.
Yeah, Jason Kohler fast Thursday, won Friday, and looking for the national championship here on Saturday at Mid-Ohio. And the 848. He's got a nice little nice seat to the battle for second in H2.
He gets the best seat in the house watching those two guys. So he, you know, maybe he hangs back. I don't think he'll try to stick his nose in there, and he'll just hang back and take the checker right behind those two guys.
So not only is Jason Kohler leading the points in the Midwest region, the Great Lakes region, he won Thursday, he won the qualifying race Friday, looking for the national championship here today as the white flag has been displayed, the 848, the driver from Waterford, Michigan. And a checker flag comes out, and Jason Kohler will win H1 here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. National champion there, and he can enjoy that. He was about 19 seconds between him and second place.
But let's remember that the other two cars right in front of him, they're still competing. So Kohler's backing off, slowing down. But right behind him, we still have a battle going for second, or for our second and third place in H2.
So there is Jason Kohler on the cool-down lap, as you mentioned, some guys still racing here on their final lap. Jonathan Meris in the 727 ends up second from the tail, works his way up, a great finish on the podium. Kevin Helms comes home in the third spot. Here we go, the battle for H2 for second place. Again, Baker tried to make it work heading into Madness there, and just not enough. Erik Olson really doing a great job, not really driving defensively, just running his line. He's been fast all day, and he continues to be fast.
Well, and you notice it's not crazy driving. They're not going off everywhere. They're not sticking crazy moves here. They're both just driving consistently, very respectful of each other. Of course, now that I say that, something might happen, but they're really just running together, and boy, those guys could be high fives, hopefully taking those next two spots on the podium in H2.
Well, I said it was going to be tough to reel him in, and he's caught him here as they get close to the end of this race, as Jeremy Croiset crosses the stripe and will pick up the win in H2. We're going to watch the battle for second place in H2 as they come.
And it looks like Erik Olson is going to pull it off. Wow, what a race.
At the stripe, Erik Olson comes home in second, and Jonathan Baker will finish in the third spot. So there to the right of your screen was Jeremy Croiset. There is Erik Olson in the 10 and the 32 of Jonathan Baker. There's your top three.
You know, and let's see if we can raise Jonathan Meris here on our Samson Racing Communications radio system and see how he did that charge. Hold on, we're going to call into Jonathan. Jonathan Meris, this is John Lindsay and Rob Klepper up in the Speedcast TV booth. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, John, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Oh, we hear you 5x5. Congratulations, man. That was a great run to watch, and well, for a car that the paint isn't even dry yet, that is a complete wonderful run. Congratulations, Jonathan.
Hey, thanks a lot, John. The Meris Motorsports guys really came through for me. And with the Toyo tires, I was able to just keep my head and nose down to the grindstone. And thanks to HPD, we had a great event here. And I'd just like to say thank you to everyone at home, and thank you to NASA, and thank you to Honda Performance Development.
Great job, Jonathan. We are so proud of you up here in the booth. Enjoy your podium ceremony, my friend.
Yeah, it looks like he possibly missed the He wants to take another lap. He wants to make sure that he finished up there in that second spot. But a great run for Jonathan Meris there, and he's going to take another cool-down lap here before he heads back to the pit area and heads over to the podium. So a great race there in Honda Challenge. And
you know, Rob, we may have John Olt here too. Let me see if I can race him on the Samson Network. Hold on. John Olt, this is John Lindsay and Rob Klepper up in the Speedcast TV booth. You there, buddy?
Chest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Get the thing closer to your mouth.
Well, looks like John Olt might not be there, so he may have already checked out and taken his helmet off. So great race. Why don't we check out our finishing order here, Rob? How about Honda Challenge 1?
Honda Challenge run, we mentioned that the 8:48 of Jason Kohler checking out on the field, a huge gap between him and Jonathan Meris. So Kohler picks up the national championship. Congratulations to him and his team. Jonathan Meris races up to the second spot in the 727. Coming home third, Kevin Helms in the 88, followed by the 75 of John Alt fourth. Michael Freeze will finish fifth in 23, followed by Andrew Lee in sixth. And coming home in the seventh spot, the 8 of Rob Oxford.
Honda Challenge 2, of course, it's our good friend Jeremy Croiset out there with a 17-second lead on the field. In that great battle for second and third with Erik Olson and Jonathan Baker. Eddie Sidauskas comes home in fourth. Andrew Locke fifth. Shane Lovely sixth. David Sherman taking the seventh spot. Robert Casella in eighth. John Reamer in ninth place. Xavier Calderon in 10th.
So congratulations once again to Jason Kohler and Jeremy Croiset for winning their national championships here in Honda Challenge. They will head over to the podium area, get their big trophies, kiss the trophy girls.
Maybe.
If there are said trophy girls. We don't know that for sure, but if they are there, I'm sure they'll be hugging and kissing. They're going to get their trophies, get the big checks, and it's going to be party all night long here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll go down trackside and talk to our winners. You're watching the NASA Championships here at Mid-Ohio. Welcome back to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. The 2012 NASA Championships presented by Toyo Tires. Honda Challenge 1, Honda Challenge 2 are in the books. We have crowned 2 national champions. They're making their way over to the podium. And we would like to take an opportunity to introduce the third member of our broadcast team. We didn't see him in the earlier race. He was off gallivanting around, doing what he does, getting the stories, but he's got them all down here in Honda Challenge. We just saw a great race. We'd like to send it down trackside to the third member of our broadcast team, Jeremy Scott.
Thanks, Rob. You see the plate back there on the back of Jason Kohler's car? Signifies he's a rookie. Jason, it's your first win in Honda Challenge 1. First time you've been in the championships. How you feel right now, first of all?
Feel great.
Well, let's talk about that start. You got a rocket start at the beginning. Didn't have to worry about Meris early on, but you got up front when you needed to, and you stayed up front. Talk about your feelings right now and dealing with the changing track conditions.
The track was actually pretty good from the start. It was pretty dry. We were worried this morning because of the rain. It was wet for the first race, but we lucked out and the sun came out and it dried. I think the great start helped. I got open track. Just got to put down hot laps so everyone else followed up behind me. So.
All right, congratulations, Jason. We're going to walk over here to Jeremy Croiset, your Honda Challenge 2 winner. Congratulations. Let's talk about that.
Thanks, Jeremy. That's God. This win is a culmination of a number of years. We've been coming to the championships every year, minus one that we missed, and every year we've done well, but we've been taken out by mechanicals, while leading or taking part in trying to win. So we finally took the win today. My crew chief Felix, he helped me put up together a great car. I got to say a big thank you to Toyo Tires, HPD, Hossport, AEM, ASR Parts. All these guys are really behind the class as a whole, and they helped all of us get here and do well. And wow, what a race!
Early on, you had an early challenge from Eddie Sidauskas, but how much of a challenge was that to keep him behind you and not watch you mirror so much?
Oh, it was hard. I was going as hard as I could right from the start. I got a good start, got the jump on Eddie, thank goodness. He's got a B18 motor in his car, and I'm running a B16, which gives him a little more straightaway speed than me. So it's hard if he gets the same exit to keep him behind me, and I had to drive a little defensively for a couple laps. And then luckily Erik got up there and started hounding him a little bit, giving him something else to focus on instead of me, and that let me check out, and then just Felix helped me maintain the gap back to them, and after that point it was just try to set the cruise control and hope nothing went wrong with the car for a fourth year in a row.
Well, congratulations. Go celebrate your H2 championship. Jeremy Croiset, your H2 winner. We're going to send back up to the booth for Rob and John for some time trial action.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy Scott. Good to see you down there in Victory Lane, my friend, and congratulations to both Jason Kohler and Jeremy Croiset for getting the big wins here in Honda Challenge. A lot of great racing this weekend. Make sure, folks, you go to the official website for this event at nasachampionships.com for all the continued information. Also, live timing available at nasachampionships.com, the dedicated website to the National Autosport Association, online at nasaproracing.com. Well, a lot of racing left to go here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Mr. Lindsay, so far so good.
Well, we've had a couple of fantastic races so far. One of them in the wet, a little slippery, a little crazy, and then a nice dry race for our Honda Challenge presented by Honda Performance Development. Exciting battles all the way through the field in both races, so I hope to see more of that as we have, looks like GTS and Spec Miata coming up this afternoon.
Yep, GTS, Spec Miata, some time trials, possibly guys coming out on the racetrack trying to lay down that perfect lap that they've been working all year towards.
And there's a lot of strategy there, Rob, because, you know, the rain came and cleaned all the goobers off the track and everything else. And these guys had been running before in the dry on Thursday and Friday trying to achieve the best lap time. Not much yesterday afternoon because it was raining, nothing this morning because it was raining, but now they may be scratching their heads and saying, wow, the track might be a little cleaner, a little better dense air, a little cooler. Maybe I got something for it.
Well, folks, you can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/NASA Pro Racing. You can like us there. You can also like the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter at NASA Pro Racing, hashtag NASA Champs, hashtag Mid-Ohio. You can also follow the racetrack at Follow Mid-Ohio. So the sun continues to actually not have any clouds in front of it. We haven't seen, there's a lot of clouds out there, but they're not in front of the sun. So that's good news. Good news. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit too, and a lot of great racing here left to come from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.